Welcome, this is Political Gamer. Halo 5 launched this week without one of the series' hallmark features, local multiplayer. Most people have fond memories of playing Halo campaigns with a friend or two. I myself remember more than a few nights of college playing split-screen arena matches, occasionally as part of LAN parties. There's something special about playing a game with a person. I remember making that realization specifically playing Magic the Gathering online. This was during the game's open beta period. Playing the game at any given time felt amazing, but it lacked the personality that physical trading card game has. That isn't to the game's fault. It's an inherent feature of online. No matter if you have voice chat or not, there is a certain disconnect when you are playing online as opposed to being in the same room. And for many people, Halo 5 marks the end of that. In a way, it is also a bookmark for video games in general. The last generation of consoles had fewer and fewer games that held local multiplayer. Even games that one would think would have it, like Army of Two, only featured online co-op. Halo was one of these stalwarts, the game that you could rely upon being there when others faltered. Sadly, this last Tuesday marks the end of that. And yet, the more I think about it, we still have, and maybe forever will have, local multiplayer. It's just in a different form than we're used to. Of course, we still have Nintendo. The company has made a name for itself in keeping local multiplayer a priority. Games like Smash Bros., Mario Kart, and several others will always be a reason for you to visit a friend's house or organize a meetup. The return of Rock Band marks one of the few AAA releases that thrives on multiplayer. But there are two sources of local multiplayer that have risen over the past few years. The most obvious is indies. Games like Nidhogg, Screen Cheat, Towerfall, and many more show local multiplayer video games are hardly dead. At the EMP Museum, there is a section for indie games. Their demo version of Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime is almost always being played. On the other hand, tabletop games have really taken off in the past few years. That's not to say they haven't been around, but until recently, tabletop games have been more of a niche, a thing that wasn't discovered by a lot of people. Now, it's hard to go to a convention without somebody playing Cards Against Humanity. A few others like Pandemic and Ticket to Ride are becoming just as well known as Halo. And the fact that many tabletop games aren't as well known is also perceived as a good feature. It allows us to get new experiences all the time. Or just as important, to share our experiences with others. And the fact that you can do it in person makes it all that more special. While it's a pretty bright silver lining, it is still sadly a silver lining. I personally don't think Halo would have been as successful as it was if it didn't have local multiplayer. But Microsoft and 343 have pretty much stated that priorities have changed. I just wish they weren't the ones who forced that change upon us.